Hey everybody, it is Justin, your guide into the other side. And in this video, I know everybody has been asking me, how do I make use of the limited resources that I have to make an aesthetic Kodamara? And of course, I don't know everything, but I've had some time to take a look at the metadata. I've had some time to look through all of the threads, as well as get some insight into how to, let's say, rig it in your favor. Of course, the results aren't guaranteed because there's a certain level of RNG in the way that the recipes are, the way that they spit out the Kodamara. But let's review all of the information first. Let me break down what I'm going to go over in this video. So, of course, I'm going to talk about this graph here, kind of segueing into, just a basic Kodamara with an eye texture, a nascent aura, as well as an overload aura, and then additionally the entwined auras here. And then also I will talk about environmental auras and how to pull those. Those do tend to be RNG, but we'll go over that in just a moment. Hopefully, okay, I got to make sure that I'm pulling all the correct information up here. We'll also be talking about Legends of the Mara points. So again, if you have a coda, we'll talk about how points work with the transition over to far away, but we'll go over that in a moment as well. Also, we're going to take a look at we're also going to contextualize it here. We're going to talk about a couple of the base traits, as well as, whether you should use your hunter, your farmer, your enchanter, and what catalyst you should be using. Again, this is if you have the luxury of choice, and not just, maybe one or two, and we'll kind of go over this again. So, also, in this video, we're going to talk about the Otherside-Wiki Kodamara preview tool. And then we'll break down how this, kind of shows us a good breakdown of what traits spit out if you have a specific combination, etc., etc. And then at the very end of it, we'll kind of take a look at environmental auras at the very end, because environmental auras are, I'm assuming, the most rare. They're probably the most coveted. And currently right now, there's a lot of them being rolled because a lot of people are using maximum fragments to evolve those first. And then I think we'll see a trickle in of just regular Kodamaras, ones without auras later. So let's break it down from the very beginning. So first of all, this is where you're going to want to look at. This is what you're going to want to look at first. And there are there's essentially four ways you can do it. You can so there's a couple of choices, right? You got to choose at the very top of this graph here. You have to choose your Mara that you want to evolve. Okay. It can vary in rarity, whether that's from common up until legendary. And the rarity tier of the Mara does not impact the aesthetics. It only impacts the base values. I don't want to say this wrong, but I do believe that it does roll into the next one. And then I do believe the secondary rolls that you get, because Kodamaras can do, let's say if you evolve an enchanter, becomes a Kodamara. I think the RNG for, the other roles like farming and hunting, I think that is RNG. But don't quote me if I'm incorrect on that. So first of all, you've basically chosen which Mara you want to use. And then additionally, you'll have to choose which catalyst you'll want to pick. And again, that will determine the aesthetic base traits that will roll into the Kodamara, right? And in this first instance, if you don't use any catalysts, if you don't use any fragments, you have to use a catalyst. You'll just get a naked Kodamara, right? You won't get something like a parasite on the top or an eye texture. It'll just be a base Kodamara, very clean. Honestly, I rolled mine with just a catalyst, and it turned out fucking solid. I like mine. You can view it on another page. I'll have a link in the description below. But outside of the first, if you don't have any fragments, by all means, just feel free to just go ahead and roll it. Again, you'll just have the choice of like what tier, what roll, and then of course, what catalyst you use. Second, okay, now we're getting into the more complicated part of the video, right? This is where most people are going to want to look for aesthetics, right? And again, if you use fragments, I think the amount of fragments you can use come in 3 types of quantities. And I'm going to pull open Otherside-Wiki for a moment. You'll notice on the side here, people can choose between 1500, they can choose, 1500, 900, and 500. Okay, I'm trying to scroll down, but there are some people that use 500, and you can still roll auras that way. Yeah, for example, here you can roll 500 of chemical goo. It may or may not put out an aura, but again, it is just RNG. So we're going to come back to this graphic here. Okay, so if you use some fragments, let's say 500 or 900, I believe it can either go one of 2 ways. It'll either be a base Kodamara with a parasite and an eye texture, or you'll roll a nascent aura, right? It says right here, add any fragments, you'll get mutated eyes and a parasite and a chance for a small aura, okay? And then if you use more fragments, okay, so let's say you use more fragments, let's say you max out the first slot, max out the second slot, or any certain combination, whether it's 500, 900, or 1500, you'll have a greater chance at rolling an aura, okay? But there's still a chance it can roll nascent, right? Or an overload, right? So there's 2 kinds. There's a smaller kind, there's a bigger kind. And depending on the sediment type that you use, whether that's cosmic dream, infinite expanse, rainbow atmos, biogenic or chemical goo, you can roll pure aura if you use the same type, right? If you use the same type, you can roll either a nascent or an overload. Okay. There we go. So that's basically how just the first 2 halves of this work. The very, very last part, okay? So this is where it gets very complicated, and what most people have been rolling for from what I've been seeing across the board, most people have been choosing to mix and match their fragments to mix it into an entwined aura, and these all look very, very different. And whether they necessarily mesh well with, if you're aesthetics maxing and you want to make it look really good, then you're going to have to choose colors you're going to have to choose the color scheme very carefully, which will kind of impact the way that you choose your catalyst. So for fragments, let's talk about fragments. So depending on how much fragments you use, the more fragments that you use of both kind that are different in this particular instance, you'll have a chance at unlocking a very rare aura, right? So I think I may have seen some instances where mixed sediments become overload, but I'm not sure. I would have to look a lot more, but we're just going to break it down as we see fit after the week or so of the mint, right? So basically, this will kind of roll like entwined auras, and there are different kinds. And then additionally, there are some instances where you will roll an environmental aura, and those look very, very pretty good if you ask me. But I would say it kind of varies depending on the type of catalyst that you use as well. So, okay, that took 10 minutes to explain the first graphic here. I hope that was comprehensive. Let's talk about the next thing. So you might be wondering, okay. In the transition to far away, there's going to be Legends of the Mara points, right? And all Kodas and Kodamaras will be receiving new metadata, and we're only going to talk about the Kodamaras here. So the point baseline will be determined by the role and the tier of the originating Mara, as well as the catalyst type and sediment used in the fusion. So we don't necessarily know what these points are going to be used for. I'm assuming they'll probably serve as some base resource inside of the mobile game. And again, that's just my speculation. So we'll just have to see how that rolls out. But again, I'm assuming the more stuff that you throw into your Kodamara, the more points it will have. So, okay, we went over the faraway stuff. Let's move on to the next thing. This is more of a serious video because I know a lot of you guys are really you really want to maximize things. So I don't want to get I saved all my energy for the reaction videos 2 times back. So you guys can go watch that if you want that type of video. But we're going to be talking about evolving Maras correctly. And again, none of this is like set in stone. I would obviously read all the official documentation here because that's going to provide you the best chance and information at making sure you have a really nice one, or something that you want in terms of aesthetic targeting. So we'll just go through this again What is a Kodamara? It's a powerful evolution. Basically, you eat a catalyst, everything we already described. Okay. Catalyst define the style, right? So if you have, we already talked about this, Jules looks like strawberries, Vivek looks like cotton candy, Leo looks like macaroni, Chomp looks like croissants and bread, Anthony looks like salads. Funny how all these look like food items. I haven't really said that all in the same sentence. And then I don't know what you would be eating if you were eating these. So I don't know. Maybe seafood? I don't know. That's probably more Vivek stuff. So, okay. Obviously, where this choice comes into mind for me in particular, if you have the choice of multiple catalysts and you have only a certain amount of sediment fragments and you want to aesthetics max on a specific Kodamara, then you will want to double check you will want to make sure that okay, the auras, the way that the auras come out, you're going to want to target an aura that has some similar type of aesthetic to, or similar in terms of color palette to the base catalyst that you have, right? So obviously Jules, it will probably go well with like a crimson environmental aura, or maybe some other auras that I'm not like thinking of right now. That's just what comes to mind, right? So if you have a Vivek, right, I think there was like a swirly galaxy looking aura that was an entwined. I think that is biogenic expanse, I believe, but we'll find an example later because that one's personally what I think is the coolest. So anything that's blue, purple goes well with Vivek. Leo's ridiculous. If you roll a magma environment with this, that's ridiculous. Like that's going to be really hot in color and aesthetics. So there are certain combinations that do look better than others, and you're just going to want to keep that in mind. And I do think that Chomp goes really well with, like, again, if you roll a magma. If you roll, there's some certain types of, I find that Chomp goes really well with like chemical goo because the green really contrasts well with it looks like a tree essentially. You get that tree aesthetic, which is really nice. And then there's also Anthony, obviously goes well with any of the green, combinations of auras. And there's also High Bar. And then High Bar is personally not my favorite, but they do look crazy in some certain instances. So, okay, after you've basically chosen which catalyst you want to use, or you have a specific type of catalyst, again, it's going to factor in, we're going to take a look at a couple of things here. I already went over like the chances of auras here, textures and parasites. So we're going to move over to the Otherside-Wiki. Thank you, Frosty, for making my job a lot easier, because this would have been a very difficult video otherwise. So, if you need to get your head around things like I do, and if you want to look at what other people have already rolled, we're going to look at this in just a moment. But from the Otherside-Wiki, we've added a new page where you can choose the mint settings for Kodamaras and see what you might get. It's a great way to kind of predict the outcomes based on your settings. And the data is based on the mints that have already taken place. As soon as a new mint happens, it is automatically added. So if you'd like to add further data, we look forward to your feedback. So this is what we're going to go over now. So let's kind of talk about it. This is probably the most important tool that you're ever going to use and look at if you are making a Kodamara, okay? This is the most important. I'm going to do some magic and move my head over to the side here. I know that was kind of wild. I dragged that really fast. But basically, this is going to show you what the Kodamara comes out, and then how many fragments were used, what Maras were used, what catalysts were used, and then you can kind of get a good feel of what your Kodamara is going to look like, right? I'm going to zoom in to make this very clear, because this is like a really... Personally, I put this video at the higher end of my priority list in terms of like quality, because I want to make sure that people know what they're doing, because I don't think oh my gosh, guys, I don't gotta be really careful, guys. I think this is it. I think this is all the Kodamars we're gonna get. I don't necessarily know if we're gonna get any other seasons. I do believe I saw some discussion in the Faraway Discord, so I would go reference there if you have any questions. So outside of that, let's kind of see what looks good. This one is ridiculous, guys. Anthony spits out a ton of ridiculous looking ones, and this one is kingly. even if you don't pull an aura, if you pull a fucking crown, you're king or queen. Jesus. So like, okay, of course we can kind of see here the eye trait. Of course you get an eye trait. Of course you get a parasite, and then of course you get a certain base aesthetic type. And again, if you are looking for those shorter type of Maras, then enchanters are probably the way to go for that, right? And then of course we can kind of see things like if you use a combination of, for example, this person put together a legendary hunter with jewels, of course. So it's going to make a hunter type with secondary roles being, farming and enchanting. And then they used a combination, 2 different sediment types. So of course it's going to go towards the entwined type of aura, and this is an entwined aura, right? And the entwined aura is in the metadata. I'll actually click on it to pull it up here. So my head is in the way now. Okay, so anyways, you can kind of see the catalyst used, phase creation, the body, the head, but the aura is the most important part if you're looking for auras, right? And the aura is biogenic goo. So you can kind of see in the metadata, based on the type of sediment, the auras are mixed essentially. So it's an entwined type aura, right? So if you're looking for an entwined, if that's what the target aesthetic you want, then of course you can check this tool and go that way. Did I open up another tab? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. So again, while this is reloading, like for example, this would be a nascent aura. This is a nascent aura, right? And again, this person used 900 Cosmic Dream, I believe. I think that's Cosmic Dream, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the Dream one is the circle one. But basically, this one is like a farmer, so it's kind of taller. This one actually looks crazy good, right? You kind of see how you can kind of see how the aesthetic works out. If you have like a Vivek, going with something that's more purple tends to bring out the accent and the body of the Kodamara. And again, that's going to be permanent in the way that, it's an NFT. You can't, I don't know if metadata can be changed, but like the aesthetic, there you go. So this one looks crazy too, right? This one came out with a crystal aura, right? Crystal environment aura. And these environments are pretty coveted. I'm seeing a lot of people targeting for them, especially if they have some specific aesthetic in mind. And the only way you can pull environmental auras is if you mixed 2 kinds of sediment types, right? Doesn't matter the supply, it's just gonna affect your probability. So the more sediment you use in those 2 particular fashions, it's going to raise the chances. So even if this person used 900 and 900, still rolled a crystal environment type, which is pretty ridiculous. It looks pretty wild. So again, a lot of people are just maxing with their legendary hunters, but by all means, you don't have to worry about the tier rarity of the Mara, because it's not necessarily going to impact the aesthetics, right? I remember saying that earlier. So again, if you decide to opt for, oh shit, this one looks really cool. Okay, so in this case, I want to talk about this one first because this one looks wild, right? I remember talking about Leo and Chomp. The red ones with the green biogenic swamp look super sick, especially if I think this might be this might be a nascent aura. Let me double check. So if we're pulling down, no, this is an overload aura. So it's a chemical goo overload and it looks really good. Red and green, pretty sick. The eyes really tie everything together in terms of aesthetics. So again, this is super clean. I like that one a lot. But we're also going to talk about that swirly one too. I think that is an entwined. So, god damn it. Sorry guys, we're loading a shitload of combinations here. So we're going to try to scroll all the way back up and find it. But oh damn. Okay, so yeah, even if you use the same type of, okay, hopefully, Frost, I hope this is working. But basically, it looks like this person used 2 biogenics in the 900 quantity and still rolled a luster environment aura, which is the luster environment aura. Nasty, very hot. Yeah, I like when things turn out nicely. Like this green and red, hot. This biogenic, very hot. I think this swirl, okay, I actually have to check it out. I think this might be is this the overload for biogenic? No, it's biogenic expanse aura. Biogenic expanse. So it's an entwined aura. which is interesting. You may be able to roll different auras because like it seems like they used just biogenic per the tool, but again, the tool is updating as of course per the data set. So again, the results are going to be varied. Again, I was hesitant to make this video because not everything is not guaranteed, guys. Well, besides the official information and whether you're going to roll like a, I mean, obviously if you don't use fragments, you're not going to get an aura. But with the way that auras spawn, it's a little bit more nuanced and difficult to really show. Again, which is why I want to rely on this tooling to kind of show how that kind of, spawns out, right? So again, I just want to emphasize, make sure to take a look at this tool. It's going to be really important for you. This one is crazy. It's got like a swirly eyes in the center. So this one used biogenic as well as, I think this is Infinite Expanse, right? That's Infinite Expanse. Let me just fucking open it up. This is one of my favorite aesthetic combinations, like having a really clean Kodamara over here, along with a nice swirly aura, pretty wild. So again, this is a biogenic expanse, so Infinite Expanse. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of target for that as well. But again, all I can really say is you have to look on chain to really understand, right? Again, this tool is going to be really important for that. And if you want to look for other types of auras and specifically try to focus on that, I would recommend to look at Magic Eden or, the Otherside-Wiki tooling for those filters as well, because we'll break down in just a moment, like all of those things too. So like, damn, even if the color scheme doesn't necessarily fit, like this Anthony with this entwined razor aura essentially looks like a razor. It looks like a dragon type aura. It's crazy. I really think this looks pretty hot. Man, I wish I had some fragments to roll on my Elka, because her having a crown would be pretty epic in my opinion. But we're okay with the totally naked one as well. I got hair in my eye. Oh my god, this is so annoying. But yeah. Again, do let me know what you're going to be combining together, but please use this tool. This will be in the description. So you're wondering about auras and you want to figure out which aura you want to pull, right? For the most part, you can't really plan for things like environmental because I don't know how it's coded into the smart contract and like what combinations are going to be in there. So, I mean, if you're trying to get an environmental, I would just max send and pray. Or maybe just do some combination. I don't know, guys. I will be completely honest. I don't know. But if you're looking for something more like you want to target a specific nascent aura, like a single, if you just max load one slot, I mean, you can more often than not say you're going to roll that particular nascent color scheme or overload color scheme in this particular example. But let's pull over to the collection on Magic Eden, okay? So a couple of the instances that I see here, I'll pull up the filters and go through each aura specifically and what their combinations are good with. But again, I'm going to talk about environmental traits for environmental auras first. And Magic Eden is atrocious for being able to show this, unfortunately. So maybe I should just say fuck it and open up the Kodamara browser tab in Otherside-Wiki. But nah, I'm too deep in it anyways. So I mean, let's pull it up. How do we pull this up? Can we actually pull this up? Let me pull this up. Guys, sorry guys, this is crazy. Yeah, let me pull up Kodamara's. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not. I think I'm just going to use the Otherside-Wiki tooling because that's easier, in my opinion, for displaying because you guys can actually see it. So, again, some auras look better with specific ones than others, but I want to specifically point out environmentals. So, like Chomp, if you can pull a Spire environment, congratulations, you win. but that's RNG, so that's out of our control. So yeah, let's talk about the specific auras. I'm gonna need to zoom out because I'm not gonna be able to pull up the specific type Let me pull up optics. Nope. Is it in origins? Nope. Is it in abilities? Nope. Is it in stats? Sorry guys, I'm doing this on the fly. This is getting kind of wild at this point. I'm usually more prepared for these videos, but this is a really complex topic that I don't want to get kind of fucked up. Okay, I can't do that. I can't use the filters, guys. Sorry. My ultra wide screen is just giving me a hard time. But basically, if you go into the filters and you filter for specific types, the point of what I wanted to do is what I wanted to show you the pure ones first, right? For example, this one obviously is Cosmic Dream, right? If you want to have something purple, go Cosmic Dream. If you want to pair that with something like a Vivek, obviously you could mentally splice these things together. That would probably look good. And again, if you had an Anthony and this one looks like a grasshopper. If you had an Anthony and you have a freaking green one, I mean, by all means, you can do that too. And even if you use a base like, I think this one is chemical dream, I believe. I'll have to pull up the metadata. I actually don't know. Chemical dream. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I mean, hey. They mix together well, even if you are out of fragments and you need to, just throw something together. And again, you can always opt to choose for the naked ones too. Because the naked ones, I mean, look at this one, man. This one's got like a crown on it. Even the naked one looks, even the nude ones look pretty good. I mean, look, I'm totally getting demonetized. God damn it. Anyways, like this chomp one looks clean, even without an aura. Sometimes it would look better without an aura. But outside of that, this is just kind of like going over all those types of things. Like this one is ridiculous, guys. Like imagine if you rolled like something that didn't go well with this, right? It would honestly look less clean than if it was just this, right? This one looks really good, without an aura, in my opinion. And again, you're just gonna have to be really careful with the way that you roll things. Like for example, this one actually looks really good with the blue because the one thing I noticed is like the eye trait like meshing together. Like the eye trait will retain cohesion when you mix those colors together, right? And there will be a certain set of traits that kind of keep it all together. So again, I just like looking at these guys. I could go on forever. This video is already 25 minutes long and it's probably going to go to 30 minutes. But again, I just wanted to break down everything. Damn it, Waldo, you got to unlist this. It's so good, bro. It's so fucking good. Okay, for reference, this is Waldo's. You're getting me tempted listing it there, brother. But these are just wild. Like these are wild. Honestly, just have fun taking a look. Definitely check out everything you can if you are still looking to put your Kodamara together Build-A-Bear style. Because remember, once you make it, can't go back, and we can't trade sediment fragments right now. So it's just going to be a long time. So again, remember, Kodamara minting remains open indefinitely. So there is no pressure. There's no pressure to make it right now. You don't have to do that right now. You can always wait. You can wait until like Legends of Mara Rise. When the full game comes out, you can always wait. You can always if you have someone trusted that you can ferry your Mara over and a catalyst and have them use their sediment fragments. I mean, feel free to do that as well if you want to. If you have people that you trust that you can, do that for, and have like extra sediment that they may not be using or stuff like that. You could do that as well. I'm not saying you have to. Again, I'm just saying there's no rush or anything like that. So of course, just do your diligence, look at everything on, the collections, make sure to check out the Otherside-Wiki here. This tool is extremely, extremely important. Okay. I will link it in the description below so you can take a look. Again, you're going to want to take a look at, all the catalysts, make sure to read the Kodamara webpage. And then additionally, you'll also want to read the thread, from far away here and review this at the very least. Let me do the magic so I can go back to the right side of the screen. Just look it all up, guys. It's all there. You can read it. You don't need me to tell you how to do it. But anyways, outside of the meme that we can't read, you guys know where to find me. Hit that like and subscribe button. It always helps me make way more content in the future. And man, I'm fucking excited, guys. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.